I like to subscribe to all that. You know what time it is. Netflix time. This movie's called The Weekend Away. It's an hour and a half long. Spoiler alert. Let's just get it. So I talk with this lady by the name of Beth. She's visiting Croatia for a weekend getaway. Her taxi cop drives neighbor is Zane, but we'll get to him in a minute. She's there so she can meet her best friend Kate and have a nice little getaway. Kate told her she didn't have to pay for the taxi. It was already paid for by her ex-husband Jay. Now what the fuck would he pay for that shit? She gave Kate a necklace. It all so sweet. Afterwards, she's got to set up for both of them to go out and party. Afterwards, she gets on the webcam to talk to her husband Rob and her little baby girl Astra. They was getting it cracking already. So as they're leaving to go out and get dinner, they meet this guy by the name of Sebastian. He's actually the owner of the hotel. Now at the restaurant, Kate keeps telling them the bill is all on Jay, and they're thinking to themselves, why would Jay pay for this shit for her ex-wife? Could have found out she stole a couple of his credit cards. So what we learned is Beth's relationship with her husband Rob has been real rocky. They haven't had sex in a year, and she wants just to enjoy herself and have some fun. Kate's like, fuck all that, you gonna have some fun with me, damn it. Then we found out Kate's card got rejected, and she was having a heated argument over the phone with Jay. Apparently he figured out she had the credit cards and he cut them shits off. But she went half with it and they paid the food. So then they'll get a taxi to the after hour spot and it's Zane again. I guess that's their personal taxi man. Then she gets into a personal conversation with Zane. And we find out she can actually speak his language, well some of it. And then we have the bond. So they get in, they get their drinks popping, and they chilling out with these two guys. So Kate's like, do you think get it cracking? Beth's like, man, I'm married. Kate like, fuck out of here with that shit, have some fun. And by the way, to your left, that's the other guy. The one that's there for Kate. Next thing you know, they got drinks, they get furred. Next morning, Beth wakes up back at a hotel by herself. So then she's thinking to herself, where the hell is Kate? Wine glasses and all that on the table. But then she looked under her towel and seen a broken glass with blood on it. Okay, so what the heck is going on? She calls Rob and actually heard from Kate, but he's like, nah. They were supposed to go bike riding today, but now it's getting serious. He asks Sebastian if she's seen Kate, but he's like, nah. He's like, he's going to charge you for the extra parties. Because apparently Kate and the other guys came back to the apartment. And Beth clearly doesn't remember what the fuck happened. So she goes to the police station to explain her story. And this guy Palvic seems very nonchalant in doing his job. Then the superior comes and tries to get some information. Then he says she's probably still out drunk or something like that. Bottom line, they can't file a report if it's haven't been 24 hours yet, so you know. So she gets a ride from a taxi from guess who? That's right, Zane. He reminds her the name of the bar was called the Blue Parlor. He goes over there and talks to the bartender and gets answers. So she finds out the guys that they were talking to are actually escorts. Basically, some prostitute ass niggas. So they gotta find these niggas, but they only know first names. She's thinking to herself, she ain't had that much to drink, so she's thinking these niggas drugged her. So Beth talks to her husband Rob again. He's supposed to be coming out there on Monday. She tells him, no, don't worry about it. I'm gonna stay here till I can find Kate. Next day, she goes on her phone, she looks the two dudes up, and they set up a meeting. Well, actually, she got the information, and Zane set up the meeting. So when they get to know each other, they found out about Zane, and he said his wife passed away. Apparently, she was at work, and there was a bombing, and she ended up getting blown up. Like, damn. So here come the guys, but when they see her face, they instantly start running. Zane catches one of them, and he gets the information he wants. So the guy said he just sold off some of her stuff, and ended up finding a pawn shop where her purse and her phone was. Then they go back to the police station. Well, she does. Zane ain't going in there. So after 24 hours, this motherfucker didn't even file the damn report. He thought Kate was still partying or some shit. She's trying to remember everything, but still can't remember nothing. Then the officer tells her that purse is worth a lot of money. So the two guys admitted that they stole it. Well, of course they would after they got caught. Later on, she gets on the phone and actually talks to Jay. Crazy thing is, Jay said he never talked to Kate at the restaurant. He says he can't anyway. Communication's got to go through their lawyers. So who the hell was Kate talking to? Then apparently he didn't even know anything about the credit card. So I know Beth is thinking to herself, what the fuck is going on? So now because Kate hasn't come back as Sebastian's about to move her out of the apartment. Got other guests arriving, but then he tells her about the situation, and he lets her stay in a smaller apartment for a little while. At least until she can find Kate. She keeps having dreams trying to recur whatever happened, but she still don't have no clue. Sebastian comes by to see if she needs anything to eat. She's like, nah, I'm good, I'm about to head out. But she had already called Zane, they about to go out and eat and figure out this damn mystery. But then all of a sudden, Rob pops out of nowhere. Apparently, he's been calling her for a while. She hadn't picked up the phone because she was probably asleep. So she's like, what are you doing here? Where's the baby? Rob says she's with a babysitter, she's fine. Then they're going back at the hotel and Beth gets a call. Turns out it's from the police and they found Kate. Damn, Kate's done dead as shit. Apparently they said they found her in the water. She had drowned. But the autopsy said she might have been alive around that time. So she was still alive before she drowned? Who the hell drowned her? Back at the hotel, the grave-in. Next day she meets up with Pavic and she wants to have a real goodbye with her friend Kate. And he allows it. But when he leaves out the room for a second, she just wanted to get a face recognition to open up the phone. Then she goes to the bathroom and finds out all these text messages from a dude named Handyman. Turns out Handyman is actually Rob. And throughout the text messages, he's been giving Kate the business this whole time. It's been going on for months. What another the fuck, man? They go back to the cops. The cops get some new information. Turns out the guys denied drugging her or whatsoever. There was ketamine found in both of their systems. So they actually start to suspect she had something to do with the murder. Now, why is that? Well, one, the guys had no priors. And it turns out they actually might know something about Rob and Kate's dalliances, given motive. But because she doesn't remember a whole lot about what happened at the club, she is tripping. This shit getting crazy. Later on, they take her back to the hotel. Pavic gives Sebastian a card, tells him if he sees anything, hit me up. But the rumor is he took her back personally to make sure that he gave her the passport. So that way she can't go nowhere. It's an open investigation. Meanwhile, Beth is talking to Jay about all the shit that went down. And Jay actually knew about the affair. But he wasn't trying to get involved or make Beth mad because she had a daughter on the way. So yeah, it's been quite crazy. So who does she rely on for comfort? Zane. And she's torn up about all this shit at this point. He gives her some advice like, look man, don't trust nobody, just trust your instincts. Later on she calls Rob, who's ended up being back home now. Hey, you been caught, you been smashing a best friend, really? Disrespectful ass nigga. Even if you go do your dirt, which is wrong, don't smash the best friend. Next thing you know, cops come by the next day to arrest Beth. Like, what the fuck? Now, the cops had no motive with the affair, but they got pictures with her and Zane. Zane goes by a different name, and apparently he has ties with an Albanian gang. So there's suspicions are coming up that she paid him to kill off Kate. Like, the fuck? Because apparently this gang that he belongs to is involved in human trafficking and shit. Wow, this is crazy. So her lawyer gets out and she's like, man, don't say shit about nothing. When she gets to the apartment, Zane's there. So the story is he was saving his kid's life. This kid actually belonged to the gang, but they tied him with it based by association. So he was never part of this quote-unquote Albanian gang and whatnot. The thing is, he just don't want to go to the police because he's scared that they're just going to send him back to his country. And that's the last place he's trying to go. I guess she got some sleep. Later on, she woke up and something told her to start looking around the apartment for some reason. So she looks behind the mirror and finds a fucking recorder. Because at that point, she was probably thinking to herself, who called the police to turn her in? So when Sebastian told her she could get this room, Sebastian said he spends his time doing studio work and he's got this locked door. Later on, Sebastian comes by to see if she wants any food. So she says her cell phone died. She needs the Wi-Fi password. So while Sebastian's looking for it, she slips this big key off his key ring. How did she know that would be the one that opened up the door is anybody's guess. So anyway, after he leaves, she goes into the room and finds out it's not a room for recording music. It's actually a spy camera on all the people's rooms and their bathrooms and all that shit. Sebastian's a pervert. So it has live feed of in the rooms and outside the apartment complex too. So she starts looking up information of what happened in her room. And she finds out she was so drunk they just put her to bed. She got him in the hot tub, they was having some fun. But when she went to go take a shower, they ended up stealing her stuff as Dara's dipping out. When she was trying to get stuff together, she dropped a wine glass and shattered it and accidentally stepped on it. So that's where the blood came from. She was trying to chase them niggas and they dipped off. Yeah. So she got the license plate number of the taxi she was in. Then she got the license plate number of somebody that drove her back. And it seemed like she was pissed off when she came back. All of a sudden, Sebastian comes back and the beef is on. Sebastian knows he's a pervert. He's trying to delete the evidence. They fight back and forth on the phone. He ends up hitting his head against the table like, oh shit. So she's thinking to herself, this nigga's probably dead. Somehow he's still alive. He's moving around, so she dips out. And who's there to make the rescue? Zane. On the news, they got a suspect of Kate's murder. But they found a guy that was driving a taxi. He was trying to follow the guys, but he lost them on a one-way street. But then he ended up taking her to the police station. Huh. So apparently Kate had reported her bag stolen, but there was no record of it at the police station. Why? Then the cops roll up on him, and then we figure out something. That same license plate where the cop dropped Katie off at, it's the same one that belongs to Pavic. He dropped her off that night. No wonder he was so nonchalant about the situation. It was he the one that killed Kate. The chase is on, they end up catching Zane. Meanwhile, Pavic catches Beth on the rooftop, and he kinda admits to being there with Kate. So he was mad because he got rejected by Kate. So we're like, oh shit, did he really kill her? There was a struggle on the rooftop. Policewoman came up. He trips over a rock and falls through. Man, that was a long drop too. Pavic done deal dead as shit. So now they're back at the police station. Apparently they found all the surveillance tapes and evidence and some of the camera footage. Yeah, they got the landlord footage and then they got camera footage by the boardwalk. His back's turned. You can't really see his face. So they basically convinced Pavic killed Kate. End of the story, right? But doesn't make sense. Why would he kill her? Well, apparently he's done this to 7 other women, but they're all scared to tell their story because he's a cop, obviously, and he got a pass. So that's why he was still able to be a cop in the first place. But none of the other women he ever killed. So why would he kill this one? Turns out the other 2 guys that were escorts, they will get arrested too. Because they did find ketamine at their apartments and they had been drugging people. Apparently the only reason why Beth passed out was because Kate had cocaine in her system, so it kept her up. So they think the case is pretty much solved. I'm just not so sure about this shit. Anyway, she meets up with Zane and Zane takes her home. And of course she could press charges on Sebastian too, you know, recording footage and whatnot. But in hindsight, that footage kind of saved her life, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Next thing you know, she's back home in London, dropping off the baby at Rob's. She got her own spot. They got to talk or whatever. She's like, yeah, I just need my spare keys. She's like, yeah, I need that spare car key. Fuck that shit. She checks in the bowl, can't find nothing. Then she checks his pockets. And she finds a fucking bead in his pocket. Now, what bead is that? It was one of the beads to Kate's necklace. Now, how the hell would he have gotten that if he wasn't even there? If he supposedly didn't show up until Monday. So yeah, she's convinced Rob is actually the killer all along. So she's trying to make a call to the police, but then Rob ends up breaking into the door. Well, not breaking in, just checking her on and see if she's okay. Well, anyway, they get to talking. She just breaks down in front of him, and then he starts confessing stuff. So it turns out after Popovich dropped her off, he came and see her. This is the exact same night they were partying. They went by the waterfront. Rob was trying to figure out if Kate told her yet. Kate was like, nah. Then Rob was telling her all this stuff about how he's in love with her and all this shit. She's like, man, I don't love you like that. It was like a couple time thing. And she's like, you know what? Fuck that. I am going to tell the truth. He's like, come on, man. You got to chill out with all that shit, man. Come on. They get into a tussle. The necklace came off, and that's how one of the beads fell into his pocket. He was angry. He ended up smacking her, and her head hit the rocks. She fell over into the water, and that's how she died. That's right. Rob killed Kate, goddammit. She was still reaching out, making sure that she was still alive before she drowned. And then Rob dips out. Yeah, Beth, that shit is crazy. The crazy thing that Rob didn't know is that Beth's phone was still on. And the police heard the confession, all that shit. They got it all taped up, police on their way. Then she kicked his ass, took the baby and left. Last thing we see is her walking off with the baby as the police cars arrive by. Justice served. Now my only question is, what happened to Zane? Is she going back to him? Did he go back to his country? Is he still locked up for no reason? We need answers, damn it. The Weekend Away on Netflix. Check it out. Like, click, subscribe, do all that. You know what time it is. Like, easy out, easy, best. Big. You got this slogan.